thank you very much for joining. This is the culmination of Cohort 10. So we're going to do a demo day and demo the strategies that you guys built for the demo. So it'll be a short one today because it's only 3 strategies to demo. But I'm glad that Victoria, Patrick, and Christoph all put in a lot of effort into their demos. So I think we're going to have a good session. But before we get started, I also want to kind of give a bit of a recap of what we learned in Botcamp and also preview some of the changes that we'll be making to Botcamp in 2025. So let me go ahead and share my screen and we'll get started. 1 second. Let me just get organized here a bit. Make sure I have the right Zoom. Okay. All right. Well, here we go. Let's get started now. This is the official demo day intro to Cohort 10. So today we're going to cover the agenda. So first, I want to give a bit of a recap over what we learned in Cohort 10. Also kind of how Cohort 10 differed from previous Botcamps. And then I also want to discuss a bit on what the roadmap for Botcamp looks like in 2025. Because I think this year we saw a lot of changes in the underlying Hummingbot framework that Fede and I maintain. And I think, naturally, we also saw kind of evolution in Botcamp as well. Because I think Botcamp now we have 2 tracks and we have more content that we're teaching. So I want to give a bit of a preview into what we're going to be offering next year. And then we'll go into the meat of the demo day, which are the 3 strategy presentations that we have today with Victoria, Patrick, and Christoph. And then finally, we'll do a bit of voting, just between on the call, just to see who wins the cohort MVP NFT. Okay, so let's get started. And today's a small session, so feel free to unmute your mics and ask questions and just get into conversation with each of the presenters. So in terms of recapping Cohort 10, I think we try to kind of introduce what algo trading is and like the overall kind of a high level theory behind various strategies in early part of Cohort 10. This time we split into 2 tracks because I think some of you guys are more technical than others, and we wanted to kind of offer 2 pathways for people who are less technical to kind of like get a certification in how to operate a strategy, and then another pathway for folks who wanted to basically get a certification in how to develop a custom algo trading strategy. So I think that my track was really focused on helping you guys try to understand kind of like what is the job of a market maker. And so I think feel free to review those sessions because what I was trying to kind of really the high level concept I was trying to get across is that I think that market making there's kind of like a way that you can use your capital to generate more capital by providing liquidity, and you can do so in a variety of ways. So it's kind of like every strategy, I think of it as like there's kind of like you're taking certain risks, like impermanent loss. Maybe it's a less risk, more risky exchange, smaller token pair, all these other risks. But you need to be compensated for those risks through some type of return. So it's almost like I think you should be selecting different strategies based on how high of a return you can get on that strategy, versus the risk you're taking. So if you can find kind of arbitrage type strategies which are generating a lot of returns and you're not taking a lot of risk, you should try to allocate more capital to those strategies. But I think it's kind of like looking at different strategies, doing kind of the hypothesis testing is kind of like, and basically really taking a really like scientific approach to market is kind of how overall what I was trying to teach in my sessions. And I think on Fede's sessions, I think he was really trying to help you guys understand how to approach strategy design by using the new Quant Lab repo and also kind of like doing backtesting. So kind of using data to dynamically like change your strategies, like do a lot of work in that strategy formulation layer before you kind of just go straight to automating strategy. So overall, I think both of us we kind of like try to teach this more kind of like engineering based approach to quant trading, because we do think of it as like you're building this engine, and the engine can be pointed in different directions. It can be applied to different exchanges or different token pairs, but overall your ability to like customize the engine and also apply in the best scenarios are skills that I think you can take with you in many different disciplines. So that's why these recordings are all saved now. So the way we have it now is that both of these tracks are in these live session recordings saved in the Botcamp courses website. So you can always have access to them, refer them later on. And hopefully, for those of you who I know have like a lot of professional obligations, hopefully this can be a resource that you can go to in the future and go over the content and learn more of this skill. So in addition, we've also been making some changes to these courses, which are more structured modules that have like quizzes and challenges and try to kind of reinforce the content. So we added this new one called Directional Strategies and Hummingbot V2 Framework during this course. So some of the stuff that Fede was teaching in the Quants Lab, I think this course will help kind of reinforce some of the subjects. And also there's like a Quants Lab preview here in this course that might be helpful. And then we've also added some V2 framework content to these first two courses. So if you should see some new modules here for creating like V2 versions of the initial strategies. And I think we're planning to add some more V2 based content to this one because we do want to make sure that these intro courses serve as like good introductory modules. So yeah, just once again, I think you'll have like continual lifetime access to these courses and live session content. So yeah, feel free to refer to them later on. But of course, we wanted to reserve certification for the folks who actually go through the process and submit a demo day presentation template and video. So we kind of moved to an entirely kind of an NFT-based certification process a couple of cohorts ago. So now all the demo day presenters, so the three of you on the call, will be certified. So yeah, congratulations to everyone. And then well, after the call, we'll basically provide this proof of certification NFT. There's an example here. And then finally after the voting, we'll basically do a round of voting where the top strategy gets the cohort and NFT. And then so this is all. I think everyone on the call currently is part of the cohort. But for the folks of you in the in the recording, you can still get certified by submitting a design template before the next demo day in video. So that we do encourage past Botcamp members who take cohorts to get certified in the future. So before we get into the strategy demos, I just want to give a bit of an update and preview over what's coming to Botcamp in 2025. So we're actually going to take a couple of months and really focus on improving and adding to the course content we have on the Botcamp website. So in addition to updating the current courses that we currently have, we're also going to be introducing a few new courses as well. We're currently planning on that's around really diving into backtesting and optimization. Well, we're also working on one arbitrage with Victoria, and I think we're also going to be adding more content about how to do more DEX-based strategies, like LP-based strategies, and more stuff that's kind of using basically both like Ethereum and also Solana and base taxes and potential other chains as well. So we're and part of that's why the next cohort that we're going to be doing for Botcamp probably won't be until probably April or May 2025. And the reason for that is that they'll give us some time to really improve the course content, improve the Hummingbot framework itself. And then I think the next cohort, when it opens up, will be even better for the folks who take that one because the underlying framework will be more robust. I think we're also going to be moving to more of like an application-based process because we think it's important to have kind of like, to basically start, rolling admissions, almost treat it like a real class, because we found that, when we have like at least 20 people, all of whom are pretty kind of technical and all kind of like want to learn market making or algo trading, that kind of a community vibe really adds to the experience that cohort students have. So that's why, I think for the rest of this month and probably into January, we're going to really try to improve that kind of onboarding experience. We'll have like a more like application-based process open by January and try to kind of like intake students and really treat it as like try to build this class of students that really want to learn algo trading together and that have both like the some technical, but also the financial experience where they can really help each other. So I think we do kind of appreciate the more intimate experience we had and the fact that we can provide hands-on experience, hands-on help to the folks in cohort 10. But I do think that having done this a few times now, I think that we think that the optimal size for a cohort is probably like 25, maybe to 30 students. So, but I think overall we're actually still very excited about the future of Hummingbot and Botcamp because I think we had a really good 2024, we were able to, serve our large partners well, build out the Botcamp, kind of like courses and really kind of prove out the model of kind of combining an open source project alongside like, an education company that leverages that open source project. So overall, I just want to thank everyone for putting the effort to work on your strategies. And so let's get into it and see what everyone's built. Actually, maybe I'll pause here. Any questions before we get started? Okay. All right. Well, let's get into it. So the first one, we have 3 to demo. The first one will be XEMM Explore by Victoria. So Victoria is a longtime member of our community. She participated actually in the first cohort that we did for Botcamp. Was more like a beta cohort, but I'm glad that she was able to kind of like get up to speed on using the new aspects of Hummingbot, and I'm excited to see what she built in the XEMM Explorer. And actually also I forgot the name too, but Christoph built the arbitrage sex strategy, and then Patrick built the fixed grid strategy on Binance. So we'll play each of the video demos, and then afterwards we'll do the vote. Sorry, let me just make sure. I'm gonna reshare my screen. I think I need to share my screen with sound. One second. Okay. Yeah, I'll play now, but let me know if you can't hear. Okay.
Hi, my name is Victoria, a trader and a long-time Hummingbot user. Today I'll share a tool I developed during this Hummingbot Botcamp that helps to find the best trading pairs for cross-exchange market-making strategy. And the approach I used here can be adapted to other strategies as well, so think of it as a concept that you can modify to solve similar challenges. So, cross-exchange market making is a trading strategy where you place limit orders on one exchange while hedging on another exchange to profit from price difference. And the key aspect here that you need to place limit orders, which means your capital gets locked while waiting for trades to happen. Here is a quick picture of the strategy with limit orders on one exchange and market orders on the second. And you need to have here both capital on both exchanges. And this locked capital creates a challenge. Which trading pairs should you focus on? Historical data can help, but it can't reliably predict the limit orders fields, so I prefer real-time testing in this kind of strategies. It's more reliable. Testing thousands of pairs across exchanges requires significant resources and capital. And that's why I designed Cross-Exchange Market Making Explorer. It helps mitigate at least some problems in this search, making this testing easier to handle. So how does this tool actually work? The main idea is pretty clever. Instead of doing both sides of cross-exchange trades, we won't execute one side for real and simulate the other. Think of it like this. We place actual limit orders on maker exchange, and when these orders get filled, we just check what the price was on the other exchange at that moment. So no actual trading on that second exchange's price check-in. This way we can see what profits we could have made, but with much less complexity and risk. And what makes this really practical is that you don't need base assets to start testing, just quote currency like USDT. The system handles buying and selling in a ping-pong manner, buy first, then sell, so your capital is used efficiently. This means minimal exposure to multiple assets that typically you need to have cross-exchange market-making strategy. So the system works through 2 main components, the executor and the controller. Executor handles individual trading pair logic, and the controller manages multiple executors and makes decisions about which executor to open. So executor is just based on the cross-exchange market-making strategy. It also handles the maker order routine of placing and canceling orders. But when the maker order is filled, instead of placing the taker order, it just captures the taker price and stops the executor. The controller manages all trading pairs at once, creates only one executor per trading pair, and for that it checks available balances, and if there is a base asset, it opens the sell executor, or if there is no base asset, it places buy executor. Next, I only need to analyze the closed executors in this controller and their theoretical P&Ls. The controller already calculates these statistics for me, but in case I need a more comprehensive report, all the data is stored in the database. As I mentioned, this design is capital efficient. You only need a bold currency like USDT to start. And here are the configuration parameters. Aside from pairs, exchanges, order size, and profitability, I also added an additional paper trade amount that is used to calculate the take-up price and P&Ls. Also here are configuration for fee rates, as I prefer to set them precisely. I have also included a liquidate base asset feature that allows selling all residuals base assets after testing. Let me show you a real example now. I set up HTX as a maker and Binance as a taker exchange. I found that one bot can handle 20 pairs simultaneously without hitting rate limits. So let's first look at what will happen if we fresh start the bot. Here I have only USDT on the account. As I said, only cold currency is needed first. And the bot has been started after some time. We see here executors and statistics that is empty. And all orders here are buy orders. Now let's look at the bots that already running for some time. I have here 4 bots and 4 sub-accounts, which each has 20 pairs, so 80 pairs total. And the task has been running for a week or so. Some of the executors, let's see, like one of the bots, some of the executors were terminated with negative theoretical PNL, some with positive. The most interesting here part is the statistics table that shows the overall result. It shows the number of executed fields, the average PNL, and the projected API for each trading pair. However, these PNLs need adjustment. We show PNL for the order amount, not the inventory. To get real API, we need to account for the taker part and also hedging cost. And with collateral and interest rates for loans, real API is about 3 times less than shown here. And to test all pairs between those exchanges, I have here only 80. I can either set up more servers with extra capital or like run tests sequentially, taking longer but requiring less capital. And I see that this process still requires time and resources, but at the same time it provides more or less reliable real market data. After initial testing like this, I can focus on the most promising pairs and test different profitability levels. It is easy to do so here with this Hummingbot framework. In conclusion, I would like to thank the Hummingbot team, especially Fede and Mike. Learning these new features has been fascinating, and this new framework completely transformed my approach to strategy development.
Well, yeah, thank you, Victoria, for that presentation. Yeah, and I really appreciate the fact that you're really utilizing the V2 framework and you kind of redesign your strategy using that. And I'm sure Fede as well, because it kind of really does validate kind of like the approach that we're trying to do with separating the logic between controllers and executors. But and also, I'm just really impressed by the fact that you were able to get like 20 pairs in one bot and all this really kind of like sophisticated professional grade infrastructure running using Hummingbot. So thank you for creating that strategy. Maybe so we have 3 today. So does anyone have questions for Victoria on her strategy before we move on?
Just one. Did you use the cross exchange? You started from the cross exchange market maker executor.
Hi, it's like a new executor. It's not cross exchange market making, but it's based on it. So it's acts very similar, yeah, but the logic very similar, like placing maker orders. But when maker order is filled, it's not like executing the second part, the taker order, but it's just capture the price and stop the executor.
Nice, perfect. And you store also the price of the potential taker. Okay. Perfect. Very good, huh? Nice.
Yeah. If you look into the code, it's very similar to the cross exchange market making executor.
Nice. Very cool. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, yeah, so let's move on to the next one. The next one is Arbitrage Sex Dex by Christoph. So let me play his video over here.
Hello everyone, this is Christoph. So this is my video for the demo day. So in my case, since my main goal is not necessarily to make money with a strategy, but more to provide some market making to my project, to the BAY token. What I will do is I plan to deploy 3 different strategies here. The first one will be using the pure market making from the dashboard, simply to close the spread on the mid price with a very small amount. This is often a requirement from the SEX. They ask for the project to have a tight spread, so that's what the first instance will do. I will have a second one also using the pure market making on the dashboard, but with a small modification in the configuration, so it provides only on one side, because it appears that sometimes not many people are selling the token, so it's difficult to buy it. So there is time where we want to provide only on the sell side, on top of the small orders that are here to close the spread. Of course, it could be used on the other side also for the only buying on the buy side. And the third one I will do is using the AMM ARM version 1 arbitrage between MEXC and Uniswap. Okay, so first I will start the instance, which is here. Okay, so the first one will be the sell only. Okay, this one will only put some order on the sell side. It's not necessarily needed now for token, but it's just for the demo, because sometimes it's really something that is needed. Okay, so I'm starting it. Then some order should appear only on the sell side here. Here, so we see that it added 4 orders and nothing on the other side. So this is just to have some token to buy for the users when there is not enough. The second one, I will deploy a script to close the spread. So this one. Okay, so this one will put only 4 orders also on each side of the mid price, but very small order of $1 or $2. And this is only to ensure that there is enough, a tighter spread, sorry, because it's what the exchange is asking from the project. Okay, so we see that I put small order on both sides. There is already a bot doing this, so we don't necessarily plan to do it ourselves, but sometime we might have to do it. Okay. And the third one that I will do will be with the Hummingbot CLI. So this one I will deploy a simple AMM arbitrage between Mexi and Uniswap. So this I import the config that I already done. Pancake, I still have hard time with it. So for now I'm only doing Uniswap, but I will still try to figure the other one out also. So here, okay, so this is the Uniswap base. Let's start it. On the Uniswap we can see that the price, we can see that the price is 0.63, and we can see on Mexi that it's around 0.50, so there is definitely some opportunity. So what we'll do is it will sell on Uniswap and it will buy on Mexi. I will try to put the two together so we can see it here. Okay, this should do it. So I will start it here. I might not have enough USDC on this one. I didn't check that first, but we can see that it's buying, not already used. Okay, anyway. Here we can see that there was the first sell here, and we should see some buy on this side also. But here it will buy on my order, but it's only for the demo. In this situation, we'll only run the arbitrage script when we need to align the price. We don't plan to keep it running consistently because it might interfere with us providing the tight range and stuff like that. So it's things that we will always monitor and do as needed at first. But we can see that it's selling on this side and it's buying on the other side, so it's pretty much doing what it's supposed to do. And that's pretty it. That's the 3 strategies that I deploy for the market making path that I chose to try to get my certification on. I hope it's enough, and hesitate if any question.
Very nice, Christoph. It's good that you can operate with the dashboard. What I will do, like the next, will be, as you are the token owner, I think that you can go for a more like custom market making strategy. Now that one will satisfy exactly like the requirements of the exchange. So that is really cool. But then you can design more like a long-term distribution. And you can also use Hummingbot to do that. That will be similar as what Patrick wants to do with the best team, but with your tokens, right? And the other thing will be that this week I'm working on a PR that will try to fix all the problems that you have with the B2 to do the arbitrage. So I will also test the arbitrage there. And once it's ready, you will be able to deploy the 3 bots from the dashboard. So that's the other thing. But very good job.
Yeah, Christoph, I agree. I think if any, like, anyone's taking Botcamp Future who's like a token issuer, I'm gonna refer them to your demo video, because I think it's a perfect example of how kind of like a small token issuer should be using Hummingbot by running Hummingbot to satisfy exchange requirements on like pure market making, but concurrently running instances to arbitrage and do cross exchange market making to balance token price across exchanges. I think this is basically the job of a market maker. I'm glad that you were able to do that. With respect to PancakeSwap, I only saw this, but I think I know what the issue is with PancakeSwap. I created a PR there's like a draft PR. I think if you use that branch, it should work, because basically what's happening is in PancakeSwap, the way that it fetches pools, it doesn't fetch all the V3 pools. If it does, it makes it really slow for the big pairs like Cake. So the developer who created the PancakeSwap connector added like a restriction to like limit the number of pools that it fetches, which improves speed. However, I think it cuts off some smaller pairs, just like that. So when I changed the lookup to like basically look at all V3 pairs, I did find your pool and it resolved the price. However, we can't merge that in as is because it would slow things down for everyone else. So I think the right approach here is actually adding some type of flag in order to use like all V3 pools or all like restrict the number of V3 pools when PancakeSwap look up. This is a good example of like a bounty, because this is like a unique feature, like specific to Pancake that should be addressed, within the context of that connector. So I think actually, if there's an issue for it, well, we in our team created it, but this is probably a good kind of a bounty case for someone to add a flag that can handle your case because other people probably need it as well. Patrick, do you want to say something?
Yes, since I have similar need, would it not be easier to modify the connector so that you can query a specific pool address as opposed to looking over the entire list?
You can already. It's just that basically it's like every exchange is different. So it's like this change needs to be made at the connector level. That makes sense. And so Hummingbot, the way it works is every connector is a folder that some development needs to maintain. So that pool lookup you're referring to, it actually already exists on the Uniswap connector. However, a lot of these gateway connectors, just by definition, are currently, like I would consider them not really maintained currently. Because there's like so many of them, and they keep on changing all the time. So it's kind of like I would say like there is no real maintainer because. So that's why we're actually in the process of like kind of moving over to a new repo called LARP. We're just kind of focused on kind of rebuilding for Solana. We'll likely kind of go back and create and add the Uniswap stuff later on to it. But currently, I would say like there's kind of like certain limitations with. But yes, anyway, I think that's actually a different issue because the issue you're referring to is the pool ID lookup that already exists on Uniswap. Your specific issue is related to, I think, there's something with like new pools or something else like that. But I think a lot of these issues are related to the fact that all of these DEXs are extremely new and extremely different, and they can kind of keep on changing their standards all the time. So this is really the job of Hummingbot, is to try to maintain a standard that everyone can use across all of these different exchanges. But what it kind of means is there are certain kind of specific contextual things someone has to fix for each connector. So that's why I think the issue that Christoph is solving, even though it sounds similar to the one that you're having, is actually different, and it's actually more specific to PancakeSwap. Does that make sense? So that's why someone has to go in and solve it for Pancake, whereas your issue, someone else needs to solve it for Uniswap, base. And there might be other issues related to Uniswap mainnet that also need to be addressed. But again, this is a job of Hummingbot, which is to create a community that where different community developers can maintain and solve each of these issues. Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. But I do. Yeah, Christoph. I think. Yeah. As Fede mentioned, I think. Yeah, you should continue improving the strategy, and then if you kind of like just continue kind of posting your issue on Discord, we'll help you. Kind of get the PancakeSwap issue. Through a bounties. Okay. All right. So final, last but not least, let me play Patrick's video. So I think Patrick was trying to build a kind of like a strategy that could kind of automatically distribute his one or more tokens on various dexes. Unfortunately, I would say this is I do think that strategy is a bit, I would say it's not really a marketing strategy, so it does require some custom work. However, I also think Hummingbot, frankly, our DEX connectors should be able to handle that type of work more easily. But I think that I would say this is part of the reason why I think architecturally we need to improve it from a base layer. So that's why we're actually building this new repo called LARP, where we're trying to make sure that it works purely for Solana, serves the use cases that people need on DEXs before kind of adding back all the Ethereum stuff. Because I think we kind of built Gateway 4 years ago, when we didn't know what we didn't know, unfortunately. So I would say, it's kind of like it does a job, but in a very kind of not suboptimal fashion. But I'm really happy that Patrick, kind of like it took the initiative to, run a different strategy to earn his certification on top of trying to build his existing strategy. So thank you, Patrick, for persevering. And so I think I'm gonna play your video like on like a faster speed, just to kind of make it a bit faster. But I think I do want to thank you for building another strategy. I'll play over here.
And hello everybody, I'm Patrick Poirier, and I will be discussing the strategy that I implemented on Hummingbot. So I will share my screen. All right, let me move this out of the way. Okay. So I used a fixed grid strategy that I implemented. It's a script that is in the community folder of Hummingbot in the script. I configured it for a pair of Pepe and USDT. It's a popular meme coin. I picked it because it's high volatility. And I'm also looking at the technical analysis. I was expecting Pepe to bounce back, basically. So that's why I picked it to produce a grid bot on it. I selected a range between like a multiple digit and 24 and multiple digit and 28. Some technical analysis of the past several weeks on a 4-hour time frame. And I selected 40 grids. That is to ensure that my profit per grid was high enough to offset the transaction fees generated. The reason why I wanted to implement this with Hummingbot is because, let's say, Binance or several exchange, they do have grid bots. But the thing is that if you want to use a margin account, the grid bots are not connected to the margin account. So you basically cannot buy an old Bitcoin as collateral and then trade, let's say, Pepe on the grid bot using your Bitcoin as a collateral, because those margin accounts exclude the grid bot functionality. So this is why I wanted to use Hummingbot. This way I can trade on spot or futures, but in a margin account and using my Bitcoin as collateral, essentially. So the other important note here is that I kept the spread scale to 1. This is to basically, like, when you're further away from your initial price, you keep the grid spread the constant, basically. I picked also like a rebalancing of my assets based on market price. Does that once in a while. And I made it to kind of refresh the orders like on a very long time frame to make sure that I kept it like consistent. So overall, I generated 406 trades in a space of a little bit less than 10 hours. So I put some detail here. The thing is, so I generated overall 3.26%, invested $100 of capital, ended up left with 103.26 cents. But like, if you consider that the market was trending during that time period where the bot was active, I exceeded the upper range of the trade of the grid bot. So I terminated manually the bot at that point in time. And Pepe grew more than 6.8% since when I basically started the grid bot. So I would have been better off just doing a buy and hold strategy on Pepe. But typically the market range more than it trends. But yesterday was a special case where, in this case, it trended quite strongly. So in this case, it would have been better off for me to not use a grid bot strategy in this case. But regardless, I got the metrics that I wanted to be able to operate this in real. So the main hypothesis is that I wanted to be able to generate at least 0.21% per day, because with compounding, that makes it about 100% per year on my capital, which I feel is acceptable given the risk involved. And in this case, I exceeded that number by a large margin. But I would expect that because there was more than usual high volatility yesterday. So I would expect that in normal circumstance, I think my return will probably be around maybe 2% or 1% per day, which is still exceeding my goal. So I think it's a quite acceptable strategy to use. Some of the risk parameters of this is the market volatility. Especially on meme coin, you can have some pretty massive swings sometimes. So you want to make sure you don't get liquidated. That's why I wanted to use this strategy with a tight range, but on spot. This way I don't have the liquidation risk, but I still have like inventory risk in this case. And this is why, for me, I personally prefer not to use stop loss in this case, because typically speaking, I do this strategy like on a long trend, like taking a long on the market, when I know we are not yet at the peak of the bull market. So in this case, let's say that I would run the strategy on Bitcoin. I'm perfectly find it acceptable that the price of Bitcoin goes down. And even though my US value would decrease, I still want to accumulate more Bitcoin so that I know when we get to the peak of this bull market, I will have just more money overall compared to US currency. So I'm perfectly fine with having not using a stop loss and just keep accumulating as the grid bot goes deeper on the bottom range. And I think in terms of the inventory risk, that's the thing is, for me, I would want to offset that with Binance. We can have a coin M traded asset. That means that, let's say that you're trading Bitcoin, it's traded on itself. So you're not keeping a large amount of US currency that you don't really want. So you keep accumulating Bitcoin in this case. So that will be something I'll implement next to trade on a coin M asset. So yeah, overall strategy on Hummingbot run for 9 hours and 40 minutes. And I generated 3.26%. And I traded Pepe and USDT on Binance on the spot market. And I selected this exchange because there's a large amount of volume. And I selected this pair because of the high volatility of the meme coin. I selected for the grid, like I said, and the quantity of Pepe that I was trading at every grid was 89,285. And this was to make sure that out of the 40 grids, I could basically spread the $100 of capital that I had invested in this strategy. All right. So to me, that's quite acceptable. I think the market is trending right now. So GridBot is not necessarily the best strategy to use, but like you can use Bollinger Band to see when the market start to compress. Then it's maybe a right time to use a GridBot. And then I would probably want to use options to protect the upper range and bottom range of the GridBot. If I were to trade large amount of money on the coin, just to protect against potential collapse of the market, having an option on to protect the bottom range of the grid, and maybe an option to protect the upper range for the opportunity cost if the GridBot stops at the wrong time when the market is trending basically. So overall, I'm happy with the result, and I'll be playing more with Hummingbot in that regard. Thanks.
Cool. Great presentation, Patrick. Actually, I did have one question to Patrick, because I think I saw that you were using performance comparison. I think you said that your bot returns been like 3.3%, and PayPay, I think in the same time period went up by about like 7%. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say I think it is good to compare what you're doing with base asset, but I would say you also make sure you use the same like reference denominator. So for example, what I mean is, I think you said your starting inventory was like half PayPay, half USDT, right? Right. So that portfolio went up 3.3%. But you should compare that with the same allocation, right? So PayPay went up, let's say 6%. A portfolio of half PayPay, half USDT, just buy and hold would have gone up half of that. Correct. So actually, I would say like your GridBot actually, I would say did probably equal compared to buy and hold. Most likely. I'm just using like back of envelope math here, but I think the way I would analyze it is your GridBot broke even probably compared to buy and hold, because buy and hold would have gone up 3.5%. Your GridBot also went up 3.5%. So, but you probably need to evaluate the bot over a longer period and observe kind of like how it behaves in uptrends, downtrends, ranging markets, etc. But I would just say I wouldn't draw the same conclusion from that analysis, just because I would try to make sure to always use that same denominator, like make sure like you're comparing like the same allocation of assets when you're analyzing performance as well.
It's just that there's an opportunity cost that you have to keep out of your money in USDT. So if everything, then
right, that's true. It's just, I just don't think you should compare a portfolio of like 100% PayPay and say, okay, that went up 8% or 7%. Here's a portfolio of half PayPay, half USDT. That didn't go up 7%. It's kind of like you would say it went down, right? Would you say the opposite, right? So I'm saying I think basically this is just like one thing I want to try to teach people in Botcamp is just when you compare things, just use the same denominator, and that'll make sure that that you're comparing things out.
Okay.
But overall, I think like it's a really good starting point, because I do think these kind of grid strategies are ideal to run Hummingbot. In fact, actually, Fede is working on a new version of the grid strategy. It's called the Grid Executor. I think the strategy is called Grid Strike. Actually, we came up with a cool name for it. But I think I would actually try moving your strategy over to that one once that's merged into the development branch, because I do think that strategy is going to be very effective at implementing like a grid type strategy and optimizing how orders are managed, basically, and actually I was generating a lot of volume while also potentially even making a profit off of that volatility.
Yeah, I will probably also want to use marking down, buy more FV the further down it gets to the bottom line. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, and also like the new strategy, Patrick, the new executor is just an executor now. So the strategy, the script that you run is just a script that runs a grid between two levels. That execution logic was abstracted in executor now, that in a strategy you can deploy multiple of those. So it's like you can create a script that creates 10 grids, for example. And the thing is that that I think that my design is a little bit more professional than the one that is currently in the code base, because the current one, you execute all the amount that you need at market. It's trying to rebalance everything at market at once. And the one that I designed is progressively increasing the position with limit orders with order frequency. So it gives you much more. It's like if you analyze the potential scenarios, the scenario that you start the grid and the bot goes in the opposite way is much more conservative, this new design, than the original design there. So I would test it out too.
We're good.
All right. Well, I think that concludes our strategy demos. So let's move on and do the MVP voting. So we present. I think this here is the code. I'm also gonna paste the video, the link here. Sorry, I'm saying the link here as well. Link. So I'll paste a link in the chat if you just want to just go there. Basically, we're gonna do a very simple vote where we vote for the top strategies, and we can all participate. So I think the easiest way to do it, I think, is on your phone probably. Make sure this works as well. Okay. So yeah, just as a recap, we you should see this like Mentimeter screen on your thing if you scan the QR code. Basically, we're all going to vote for our favorite strategy of the three that were presented today. Basically, it's like a ranking system. And then this is just for fun because everyone actually gets the kind of certification, proof of certification NFT. But the top strategy in every cohort gets like a 1-of-1 RC 721 cohort MVP NFT. So yeah, that's really it. This is just kind of a fun thing to celebrate the every cohort. So let's get started. Let's see. Yeah. So basically, here are the three strategies. Basically, just rank your strategies and submit them when you're done, and then we'll just kind of go through it afterwards. Sorry, the real time thing here. Here are the strategy results in real time. Right. So yeah, so looks like we have 6 votes in already. Is anyone still voting? So I'll give everyone another 10 seconds to vote. Okay. Well, yeah, I think we're done. But congratulations, Victoria, on winning the cohort 10 MVP NFT. So thank you, congratulations to Victoria. And I do really like your strategy. I think it's a good example of how to really like leverage the V2 framework and customize a cross exchange market making strategy. But I also want to thank Christoph and Patrick as well. I think everyone in this cohort actually built some really really took advantage of the features at Hummingbot to do this, and I'm glad that you guys are all able to kind of like really push the boundaries of the framework. Whether it's like doing DEX arbitrage or trying to test out Hummingbot on like really new tokens or extending the cross exchange strategy. So I think this is this is basically it for the Botcamp Cohort 10, but so I'll send out the certification NFTs in about 2 weeks, do it before end of the year, and then we'll be updating the course content as well. So for those of you who kind of are still playing with Hummingbot, make sure to kind of like can watch the new courses because there should be more stuff there coming in the next few weeks. So with that, I just want thank everyone for taking Botcamp. It's our goal. I think it's Fade and our goal to really first and foremost educate people. I'm sure we could, be running a hedge fund or something, but I think, we made the choice to, build Hummingbot and use Hummingbot to try to democratize HFT. And so every cohort like this, it just makes me happy that more people have learned these skills so that, everyone can do the same things that these like, quant traders and hedge fund managers can. So, thanks everyone. Any questions before we end? And, happy to just kind of like chat more or answer any questions about Botcamp or Hummingbot as well. Okay. Well, with that, so this will be published on YouTube as well as the Botcamp course. And also, finally, we are trying to build a community with Botcamp where it's like a subset of the overall Hummingbot community that is more kind of like vetted and where the members work more with each other. We also try to offer better support to Botcamp members. So don't be a stranger. Keep on asking us questions in the Botcamp questions. And we'll try to have our team, answer your questions at support channel as well. Also, I think we're going to actually create like a Botcamp, like certified or something like that channel, and where only the certified Botcamp graduates, like that you guys have access to it. And so, because we are hoping for more kind of intra Botcamp team ups where people can start working together on strategies and sharing their knowledge. So with that, thanks everyone, and we'll see you on Discord. Yeah. Bye.